Hi everyone. So welcome to the class of business to business marketing. Today we will be starting a new unit which is marketing communications in the B2B market. Now first of all, how important is communications, and is it really different from the the way communication is done, marketing communication is done in the B2B and the B2C market. So, we need to understand and what all covers marketing communication when we speak about it. So, we will discuss all these things in this forthcoming few lectures. Okay. So, communication as it is defined as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs or behavior, right. Now, communication is the most important thing because that is what connects two different people, or the buyer and the seller, and so that becomes very important, that how you reach to the customer, how you reach the consumer is vital for a marketer to understand, right. And how is marketing communication defined? Also known as Marcom, the message and media that marketers use to communicate with their target markets. So, my target market is a specific group of people. So, how they would receive my message, how best I can explain my point to them, that is what covers in marketing communication. Now, with experience we have learned that marketing managers have learned that not even the best products sell themselves, right. So, there have been huge number of product failures, and not all of them were bad, right. So, why did they fail? What was the reason? Many a times the product, in spite of being good and having a right pricing system, everything, the product fails just because the communication does not reach to the target market, right. The target market does not understand, does not appreciate the product or service. So, the benefits, the problem solutions, all these things are not communicated to the purchaser, and that is why he is not or she is not interested. So, that is why a communication, efficient communication system is very vital, because obviously you can realize that the market being a large place, where place, or a collection of buyers and sellers. So, obviously to influence them, it is a challenge. So, how do we do it, especially in the B2B market? So, let us see, but before that let us go to the differences between the B2B and B2C promotion. So, when you talk about the B2C or the consumer market, right. So, in terms of target market, key elements, strategy, budget, personal selling, advertising and sales promotion, how they are different in the consumer or B2C market and the B2B market. Let us see each one of them. So, in terms of the target market, now as we know that when you buy any FMCG good, the target market is scattered throughout the whole country or place, globe, and people are basically family oriented and they take the decisions in within their home, right. On the other hand, if you look at the B2B market, here you have small concentrated geographically scattered people. So, concentrated people, sorry, and the buyers are more professional in nature, right. So, the difference is here there is a more of a professionalism, rationalism in the B2B market, and here there is there are professional individuals, no doubt, but there is an impulsive buying behavior also involved, right, and there is a family decision making process which is involved. So, this is completely a different kind of market altogether. Key elements is for example, advertisement is followed by sales promotion, uh, uh, advertisement followed by sales promotion, sorry, then personal selling, publicity and public relation. So, advertising is the first most important thing when it comes to the B2C market. Why? Because obviously you can't reach such a scattered market. So, advertisement helps you to reach a large market effectively. But in the B2B market here, since the target market is concentrated and they are educated, rational behavior people. So, here advertisement is not seen as a very ideal way of promoting the product or communicating with the target market. The best form is still now, although there has been disruptions in the market with internet, social media and all. Still personal selling is always considered the best, and then it is followed by sales promotion and advertising, then publicity and public relations, right. The strategy that is used for the FMCG or the B2C products is basically a pull strategy, right. So, you are trying to pull the market, pull the customer towards the product, right. So, through an effective advertisement, through an effective communication. In the case of B2B, we try to go for a more of a push kind of a strategy where we directly meet the customer, try to explain the potential customer about the benefits of the products and services, and then we try to create an interest in them. The budget here is large, often exceeds 5% of the sales revenue, and here the budget is relatively less, again the reason being the same, because the people are concentrated at one place and you can easily target them, and then the cost per unit is also is less because it is targeted to only a few people in the market. So, maybe the firm who is buying, maybe only you have 10 clients to 10 potential customers, and your entire sales revenue is generated from them. So, whatever communication you have to do with this 10 or 20 clients, large clients. So, what kind of a promotional mechanism you will use, that is whatever the budget may be, it has to be, it is generally less than the B2C market. Here the mostly in terms of personal selling, mostly salespeople of retailers and dealers do the job, but here the salespeople of the manufacturer and the channel members, then they do the job. So, here the salespeople have a very large role to play, because it is a part of the personal selling happens to be most important in the B2B market. Major media include TV, radio and newspapers, and here in industrial directories, trade journals, direct mail, yellow pages, all these are more important. Okay. Finally, the sales promotion. So, the POP displays, point of purchase, right, and promotional packaging, contests, samples, demonstration. So, you try to create some kind of a interest among the consumers. So, through some contest and all these things you try to do in the consumer. So, maybe some coupons, you kind of do some kind of lucky draws and all. But in the B2B market here, basically the major media are are catalogs, trade shows, brochures, websites, social media. So, what happens is people are they try to congregate, meet at an event like a trade show, and or through a conference or seminar, and then they try to discuss about the benefits of the product, and the company tries to offer some sales promotion mechanisms, right. So, to attract the customer. So, these are some basic differences between the two, the B2C and the B2B market, right. Now, when we talk about the business marketing communication tools again, and I said, so the most important is we start with the personal selling, right. So, as you know, B2B products are bulky, they can be heavy, they can be complicated, they can be very difficult to carry from one place to the other. So, all this leads to relationship building becomes more important, and you do not love to talk to new people all the time. So, maybe if you have a loyal customer and you have been regularly catering to this client. So, what happens as a matter of fact, the relationship between the company and the buyer, the seller and the buyer develops. So, personal selling is considered to be the most important thing because of the trust factor that comes into the selling and the communication. So, because of the trust factor, the buyer also tends to talk to the trusted employees of the company, the seller, and they believe in them, right. Then you have advertising, trade shows, digital marketing, which has become a very popular kind of communication tool nowadays, and direct marketing. So, mailers and all, right. So, we will look into all of these. So, all these different communication tools one by one. So, today we will start with personal selling. We will be going deep into what is personal selling and what is the sales process followed in the B2B organizations, how Salesforce deployment is done. So, we will talk about these things, right. So, what is personal selling? It is the process of communication between a salesperson and the prospective customer. So, what happens here? The salesperson learns about the customer's needs and tries to satisfy those needs by offering the right product or creating a prospective opportunity or a right product and service. It is a primary communication tool in business to business marketing because of the technical nature of the industrial products or the B2B products. As I said, they are complex and very heavily capital intensive, and they are obviously of the bulky nature. Then the relatively smaller number of business buyers. So, you do not have very large number of buyers also, neither sellers nor buyers, right. So, comparatively if you see, it is less. And the third is the complex nature of the organizational buying process. So, we have learned in the past that there is a buying center and the members of the buying center are involved in the buying process. So, because there are, and the buying center may have people from finance, marketing, engineering, quality and all, production, IT. So, that makes it specially more complex, because if you because every person will have a different mindset. So, the personal characteristics will also influence the buying process. So, here the personal selling comes very handy, because the salesperson can create a one to one relationship with the members of the buying center and tries to create a potential selling of the product, right. So, now when we talk about selling, basically we will talk about 4 types of selling in the B2B market, right. Trade selling, missionary selling, business selling and technical selling. Now, let us go with the first one, trade selling. So, what it says is, it involves working with the intermediaries. So, the company's salespeople, they work with along with the intermediaries, that means the channel members and all, to ensure achievement of the organization's sales goal, like making visits to the company's authorized distributors and explaining the marketing strategies, policies, the updated products, the new kind of changes that have happened in the design, or the the new kind of policies that the company is making for the customers and all, and the distributors themselves, handling their complaints, if the customers complaints are there, how to handle them, and training their sales people, all is a part of the trade selling. So, the company salespeople are responsible for managing the entire intermediary and the requirements of the customer, right. So, now take a case, this is an example of Crompton Greaves. So, in Crompton Greaves, salespeople of dealer segment, right. So, there are different segments, the dealer segment we are talking about, were required to contact the company's authorized dealers for achieving their sales goals, right, like their electrical motors, starters, switch gears, and by providing good services, right, building good relationship and trying to resolve if any conflict is there with the dealers. So, trade selling becomes a very important part of the sales in the B2B market, because here the salesperson of the company is not only trying to create a good relationship with the intermediary, the channel, but also tries to educate and train the salespeople who are working with the distributors or the intermediaries, right. So, trade selling is very important in the B2B market. The next is we have called missionary selling. Now, what is missionary selling? It involves providing information and building goodwill with the customers. So, here the salesperson tries to provide updated information about the company, its policies, goals, objectives, and tries to create a goodwill with the customers. Instead of attempting to close the sale, customers are asked to place orders on the company's authorized distributors. So, what is the missionary selling doing? He is not directly trying to close the sale. So, but he is responsible, he is trying to encourage the buyer to place the order from a particular specific distributor or dealer, right. So, you can understand that in the missionary selling, the salesperson of the company is helping its distributors or dealers to achieve their targets. Okay. Now, example L&T. L&T sold its product called molded case circuit breakers, okay, through its sales engineers who called on business customers like Rourkela and Bhilai steel plant, right, which are the part of SAIL, right, to promote the new product, but the customers were asked to release the orders on the name of the local distributors who carried the stocks. So, this is where the missionary selling is something where the company salespeople as a part of the personal selling are helping the distributors to achieve their targets, okay, and obviously by reaching out to the customers. Technical selling, the third one. Here the focus is on providing customers with extensive technical information and product applications. So, mostly found in industrial accounts or government procurement agencies. Now, for example, some products, for example, may be very complex in nature and they are very huge capital intensive, right. So, such kind of products will require a lot of hand holding and support from the seller, okay. Let us take an example. Industries like steel, chemicals and heavy machinery need technical inputs, right, during negotiation with business customers. So, not only negotiation, but also you regularly need to update what things are going to come up which can be beneficial for the customer. So, the customer can update its products, can bring in new changes, can utilize the product in new manner. So, all these things are a part of the technical selling where the company salespeople will be directly meeting to the customer and trying to educate them, tell them about the kind of benefits and the new technical things, changes that are coming in the product, right, through their R&D systems and all. The last one is the business selling. So, it is a problem solving approach that involves solving the business customers problems. So, what is happening here? Now, here the orientation, it see basically all are sales only, they are all for sales. So, there must be some similarity, there is no doubt about it, but slide orientation is, there is a difference in the orientation or the approach, okay. Now, here the approach is to solve the problem of the customer, the clients. Example, in software companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, the business development executives, they have the typical role of a salesperson who goes for a initial sales to the business customer and then understand the customer needs. So, in case let us say there is a customer in the airlines industry, right. For example, Indigo, or let us say for example Tata now has taken up Air India. So, let us say any of these airlines. Now, let us say they are making a software particularly for the airlines industry. So, they need to understand what are the difficulties maybe Indigo is facing or XYZ company is facing and how to deal with this problem, how to devise a completely new software or a customized software for them. So, this is part of the business selling, right. And in B2B market, business selling, obviously you can understand it plays a very vital role in the, because of the simple reason that many B2B products are customized in nature. They are developed according to the specifications of the customer, according to the desire and requirements of the customer, okay. Now, what are the stages in the personal selling process? So, when you are talking about personal selling, and we have been repeating again and again that it is the most important process when you come to B2B organizations, right. So, there are few steps. So, the first step starts with is prospecting and qualifying. So, prospecting and qualifying, the salespeople of the manufacturer or the company that they represent, their job is to identify the prospective customers, right, and to qualify them whether they would be the right customers or not. It is in one way you can understand it as trying to create different kind of segments, right, and to check which are the most potential segments or the best target segments, right. The second step is the pre-approach, where you try to understand the client, the customer, what could be the requirements and all. Then after that you meet them and try to get through a discussion about their actual needs, okay. In the fourth step, you go for a presentation and demonstration. So, what you do is you try to maybe display your product to them, try to showcase your product, maybe if not physically, you may show through a virtual mode, right. Today nowadays, because you have lot of new technology coming up, thanks to technology like augmented reality and all, through which you can easily show your product to them through 3D, like CAD CAM softwares and all, which are very helpful to design and all. So, you can show them your product, how it can be utilized, what benefits it can give and all, right. And the next step is overcoming the objections. Now, the company, the client might say that requires something slightly different from what exactly the seller is supplying, right. So, these differences need to be corrected, and they have to provide what the customer requires, right. So, after doing this, the deal is closed, right, and then a follow up is constantly done to see that the customer is not feeling difficulty in utilizing the product or does not face any challenges, right. And if there is any challenge or any difficulty, then the seller, the sellers people should be in a position to help them. So, that is why in the B2B market, the salespeople are usually trained executives who are engineers and who have a understanding of the technical side of the product. Okay. So, although I have explained, so prospecting and qualifying, this stage involves searching for and qualification of potential customers. So, a qualified prospect is a customer who wants or needs the product and has the ability to buy. Okay. So, prospects can be generated using several methods like advertising, referrals and cold canvassing. So, directly you can meet them, right, take an appointment and meet them. So, here you are trying to answer the question, who are my potential customers? Then in the pre-approach stage, what is the buying role of the prospect? What is the buying criteria? So, if the customer, whoever we are targeting, what is the buying criteria, on what basis are they buying, what is important to them, is it price, is it the quality, how are they even checking, right. So, what is important to them. In the third stage, in this stage, when we approach the customer, as you can see, they are sitting on a table and negotiating or discussing. So, here the initial meeting between the salesperson and the prospect happens, and the objective is to gain the prospect's attention, stimulate interest and build a foundation for the sales presentation, right. So, this creates a kind of a good relationship. So, you can see this is nothing but a personal relationship that is being developed, right. And in this stage, you give a presentation, as I had said, and demonstrate, either you give a kind of what kind of benefits the buyer will get out of using your product, what kind of profits it can generate, what kind of applications it can, what kind of new areas that it can enter through new product development. So, all these things, such kind of knowledge is imparted to the potential customer through the sales presentation, right. And after this, we said that we will be overcoming the objections, like the customer, for example, says the prices are too high. Now, that can be a valid point from the customer, or the customer might say, well, this design does not suit our place, because we have a space where we can keep the machine or the whatever instrument, and we do not have a space of this size. So, maybe we cannot buy it. Then you may have to redesign the product, or the customer might ask for a higher efficiency. So, you may have to change the efficiency of your machine in accordance to their need. So, all these are a part of overcoming the objections that the customer might ask for, right. And in the next stage, you close the deal. As you have seen, the stage involves a purchase commitment from the prospect, and here this is where the deal is closed. And next, obviously, you make follow ups, as I have been saying. So, making certain the customer's purchase has been probably delivered and installed, and difficulties experienced which he is experiencing, now that has to be addressed, right. So, at this stage, when companies create that personal touch with the buyer, that helps in repurchase possibility is high. But if your follow up mechanism is poor or the relationship is not good, then maybe the second time the buyer might not buy from us. So, right, and that is a big loss to in a B2B market, because you do not get clients so easily. So, once you get a client, you need to hold it on to that client. So, this is the stage, a company, whoever is a seller, should not be very happy that I have done my job, I have closed my deal. So, they should continue with the follow up, because the follow up is not only helping the client, but it is also acting as a trust factor, improving your trust factor and relationship building. And because of this, what happens, the chances of getting a repeat sales is very high, right. So, with this we will wind up today's lecture, and in the next lecture we will continue with some more things of personal selling and how sales force execution happens, right, in the B2B market. Till then, take care. Thank you very much.